Hey there, Cancer. Welcome to your reading for the week of May 26th. This week, you start with this Capricorn card. It says challenges. It says it will not be an easy path, but if you build discipline, you will achieve your goal. You have this Temple of the Soul card. It says you are on a karmic path, so you can unravel the mysteries of your karmic debts. Capricorn is your opposite sign, Cancer. So you definitely could be working with like Capricorn energy, or, that could be a good energy for you to work with just in general. You have that Seven of Wands, and Seven of Wands is like knowing that you know that something is going to work, and no matter what, like believing it deep, deep, deep down inside. And, that Capricorn card says it won't be an easy path, but if you build discipline, you will achieve your goal. So that is like the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands, we have to be fully committed to accomplishing something. And if we do that, we will accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. Now we have the Four of Wands in the Tower, which is interesting. But the Four of Wands is also about that full, deep commitment. We look at the Four of Wands as a card of marriage. But, in this reading, the Four of Wands could just be you committing to something or committing to making something happen. The Tower, I feel, could be like a fear that if you do something, that it will cause a Tower moment. So we're going to look into this. But you have the Seven of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles. This is your current general energies. I kind of just get the feeling from this row that you know that you need something, you need to change something in your life. So this could be anything. This could even be boredom. It's like sometimes I think we just get bored with life, and that's kind of the energy I'm picking up on in your first row. Is maybe for some of you it's boredom, maybe for others you just know that you can accomplish more or achieve more. I mean, we have the Chariot and the Fool showing up next to each other at the end, and this could be you kind of realizing that you are meant for more in life, and you're just going to commit to making it happen. And I feel that would be a really good thing for you to do here, Cancer. I think that would be a great energy for you to embrace. You have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is a card of gratitude and luxuries, card of focus, card of, having the nicer things in life as well. I feel there are things you want. I kind of just see this card as things that you want in life, or, I wouldn't really call them goals necessarily, although, it's like, some of the things that you want could be goals. I think that the Nine of Pentacles in your reading is talking about all sorts of things, like experiences, places you want to travel, things you want to accomplish, things you want to own. It's like all of that is popping into my head with the Nine of Pentacles. And I feel like maybe at the moment you have some of those things, but you don't have other things that you want. And I do feel pretty motivated in this reading. You do have the Chariot, which is your card. Chariot says where there's a will, there's a way. The whole reading basically says where there's a will, there's a way, right? The Capricorn card, the Chariot says that, the Seven of Wands says that, the Four of Wands says that. So, again, I think that if you really commit to, manifesting the life you desire, you will get it. You have the Seven of Pentacles. This is the change part. He is assessing what he has received in his life. The Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? He's looking at everything he has grown in his life, and he's saying, is it worth it? Or is there something better that I could be doing with my time? Or, could I accomplish more? Or could I get more out of life? And, again, I can't answer that question for you. That's a question that you have to answer, Cancer, for yourself. Maybe some of you are happy with where you're at, and that's perfectly fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that at all. We don't always have to be, charging towards something. So I think it's going to be different for all of you. But, again, I think that you are in this like analytical kind of energy this week. I literally feel that this starts on Monday. Like if you are watching this before the 26th, I literally feel that you are going to feel this on Monday, the 26th, right? On that day. So we have that new moon in Gemini on that day. Gemini is a big thinker. So, it kind of makes sense that you could be maybe analyzing or thinking or planning. Really you could be thinking about making a move. With the Chariot, you also have the Tower. The Tower can also just represent a move. And so you could be making any type of move. This could literally be you moving somewhere, or it could be you like going from one job to another, or it could be you, making some other big move in your life. And this has definitely been a theme for you for a while, Cancer. So It seems to me like it's something you're focusing on. I kind of feel like the Nine of Pentacles is like the thing that's driving you, in a lot of ways. Maybe with the Chariot, it's like the Nine of Pentacles is the things. I think it's S at the end of that plural. There are things that are motivating you to make a move with the Chariot. With the Seven of Wands, you have the Justice card. It's like you feel things are out of balance. I feel good about this, but I do feel that there is something about things being out of balance, where it's like you're noticing that certain aspects of your life are not being balanced very well right now. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing, because when you see it, you can fix it. So I kind of feel like you are bringing balance back into your life, or you're fixing those things that feel out of balance. It could be anything. It's like maybe you want love, maybe you want money, maybe you want health, but maybe one of those things is out of balance. And that's what you're fixing here. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is walking away from things that no longer serve you, which I think we are in a time of walking away from things. So, we've been in this time for a while, and, that you could be walking away from things that are preventing you from living the Nine of Pentacles. And I think that would be a good thing with the Eight of Cups, of course. He's going on a journey, and he doesn't know if he's going to find fulfillment. He's walking away from these 8 cups because they don't fulfill him, and he doesn't know if he's going to find it or not. And like I said at the beginning of the reading, I almost feel like the Tower is more of a fear. Like you're fearing that if you do make a change, that you're never going to accomplish what you want to accomplish, or you're never going to get what you want to get. But I don't think that's true. And I say I think because we haven't clarified the Tower yet. I need to clarify that Tower. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Hermit. Yeah, it's definitely time to get out of hermit mode. It's time to go for it, which I say in every single one of your readings now, Cancer. Again, I always say that, your readings do repeat quite a bit, but, we don't, it wouldn't make sense to me in the first place if every week was different. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't trust a reader if every week was different or too different, because again, usually we work on themes for a long time in life, and it doesn't change overnight. So I feel this is something that's been going on for you for a while. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Love and Prosperity card. You also have this card that says Time is of the Essence, which I also think you have had several cards that kind of say you have to get moving at this time. I would never encourage anyone to rush or make a rush decision, right? I think that rush decisions are always bad decisions. You even have the Knight of Swords here, which says don't rush, literally. But at the same time, it's like you can't wait forever at the same time, right? So we're talking about balance in this reading because of that Justice card. So I think that there needs to be, it's like you should be making some small steps towards progress without rushing. And that's what I feel this is talking about, but definitely could be Love and Prosperity coming in. You have the Three of Swords, Four of Wands, and the Knight of Swords. I kind of feel like you're healing. It is a healing week, and this new moon is very good. I think people will literally feel better on Monday or Tuesday of the week of the 26th. So I think a lot of people could be feeling healed, feeling like they've been able to heal past something, or even this could include forgiving the past or healing something about themselves. And so I kind of get more healing energy on this Three of Swords. I do think you need to get out of your head this week a little bit, and probably this week as well. Today is the 19th, so the week of the 19th and the 26th, if you're watching this reading early, I kind of feel if you're too much in your head thinking that things are going to be a disaster, I don't think they are. And, so don't spend too much time worrying is kind of what I'm trying to say. You have the Four of Wands. Again, Four of Wands can be marriage, but in this reading, I think it's your commitment to something. And so if you are going to be doing anything important, I think you just need to commit to the change. It's kind of like with you have the Chariot as well, right? And going up to the Chariot. And so I get this feeling that, have you ever seen one of those videos on YouTube where a person is on a diving board, they get to the edge of the diving board, they hesitate and they don't go all the way and they come down and they hit the diving board? It's that is kind of what's popping into my head, is that if you're going to make a change, make the change. Completely do it, right? So that you don't hit the diving board on the way down. And I feel the Four of Wands is saying that you will be happy that you did that, right? So make the full change. You have the Knight of Swords, which says don't rush. I actually don't think this is talking about rushing, because we have the Tower right here, and sometimes I think the Knight of Swords can be running up to a certain card in the reading. In this case, he's running up to the Tower, and then he's running away. And I kind of feel that this is saying that there is some sort of reality that you need to face. The whole point of the Tower is that these people are being brought down to reality. The Knight of Swords could be you trying to ignore the reality of a situation. And maybe it's something you need to be brave with the Queen of Wands, and you need to face some sort of reality in your life. The other thing I would be very careful of here, Cancer, is that the Knight of Swords is my card of like a person who rushes into your life screaming that the sky is falling, right? That in the Tower would be the sky falling. So it could be a person who's rushing into your life saying, oh my God, something's happening at work, or everybody's getting fired at work, or something like that. But it might not be true. So I would be careful if you have any people who are rushing into your life saying like, this is happening, that's happening. It might not be true. With the Three of Swords, you have the Star. Again, very good, because we definitely want the Star in a reading with the Tower. It would represent healing from a Tower moment. Like I said, I felt healing on the Three of Swords. The Star is hope, faith, and renewal. Renewal being the key word on that. So you could be renewing your energy, healing, resting, relaxing, recovering, all that other stuff with that card. With the Four of Wands, you have the Death card. Yeah, it's like you are being encouraged to kind of commit to something new. This is reminding me of like fixed sign energy, and you are not a fixed sign. I understand that, but it is almost giving me, like I feel like this should be a reading for a fixed sign, if that makes sense. And again, I think that letting things go, being flexible this week could be part of the solution. Although it's a good reading, even though you have the Tower, one card does not make the reading, as I always say. People love to tell me like, how can you say this was good? The Tower came up. I'm like, yeah, but all 900 other cards that I pulled are positive. It's like one card isn't going to ruin an entire reading. So, again, I think that it's a good week, but I also feel like part of your solution will be being flexible, being open to new ideas, being willing to innovate, being willing to undergo some sort of death or transformation. You end with the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is coming up in the good stuff. Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with, but he also represents a blessing in disguise. So, in the future, if you're releasing something or being flexible, you could realize that it's a blessing. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Page of Wands. This could say that you need to do more exploring. As in, if someone rushes into your life and is like, oh, all these bad things are happening, you should probably do your own research. And, don't just take their word for it, because you will probably discover that things are not as bad as they said. And, I kind of get that feeling here with these cards. I also think that the Tower with the Page of Wands is about practicing non-attachment. It's about not needing things to go a certain way. It's about just allowing things to happen, whether it could be a Tower moment or not. That's the risk we take in life, is that, everything we do can end in a Tower. I'll tell you a secret, right? None of us are making it out of here alive, right? So everything is a Tower. And like hiding from it isn't going to do anything. But I also feel like this could be something that's not a Tower. Like you could be worried that if you, commit to a project or a business or a relationship, that it's going to lead to a Tower, but it also might not. Next, in the area messages from your future self, you actually have 3 cards here. You have this watch your words. Yes, make sure to use positive words against yourself this week, not negative words with that card. You have this squirrel. It says believe in yourself. Definitely with the Tower, I think you need to believe in yourself. And you have this take the leap of faith. There you go. So it's definitely time for you to take the leap. I think the Tower is mental in this reading. I think that you are fearing that if you do something, it's going to be a Tower moment, but I don't think that it is. And that squirrel, it also says believe in yourself. You can do whatever it is that you set your mind to with the Chariot as well. The grasshopper is also very lucky in this deck. So there, you could be making big leaps just in general. And not only that, you end with the Fool. The Fool is the card of taking the leap of faith. Also in the row for messages from your future self, you have the Chariot, the Ten of Wands, and the Tower. The Chariot is charging towards something, taking control of your situation and making things happen. The Chariot is a victory or a big success, making a move as well. So with, again, with the Tower, this literally could just be you moving. It doesn't have to be anything challenging coming up for you, but I do feel that you could be making big moves. He's moving to get into alignment. So, everything in the city behind him is the same, and he knows that he needs to experience just newness in his life. He just needs to experience something new or different, and so a lot of you could just be on this journey to experience new things. You have the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is like carrying a heavy burden. I personally like the Ten of Wands because he's about to reach his home back here, and these 10 wands are his harvest. So he is about to get a result from his harvest. He is about to get something that he wants from the work that he has done. So I do feel a lot of you are very close to getting results from your efforts, or results from the work that you're doing. And I do feel that will be a good thing, of course, with the Ten of Wands. You have the Tower, like we already said. I really feel this is a fear. Like, I feel this is something where you don't know the reality. That's really how I feel, is that you have like a goal, or the star, right? The star is having a North Star. There is something important that you are seeing with that star card. That's how the star works. We have that big North Star that we need to focus on. And the star says you are wondering if something is possible, because she has this water that she's pouring onto the land right here. And that water comes from the pool of universal consciousness. And so the water, basically what it represents is that what's possible for one person is possible for everyone. But I kind of feel that with the Tower, that you are wondering if something is possible, but it's almost like you are imagining a Tower moment that might not happen. And so I think you need to get out of your head a little bit this week and not worry, right? We'll see. With the Chariot, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yes, I think this has come up for you before, but again, the Squirrel Spirit says believe in yourself. So Five of Pentacles is not believing in yourself. Five of Pentacles is calling attention to weaknesses. It is feeling like you are not good enough. So, maybe you need to tell yourself that you are good enough this week. I always say fives have very easy solutions. The solution to this card is to focus on your strengths, and I kind of feel that for you here, Cancer. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Three of Wands. Yeah, that's about expansion. Three of Wands can be your ships coming in, but it can also be about going on an adventure. Those ships are pointing out of the harbor, and they are pointing in a new direction. So maybe you need to move in some sort of new direction this week, or move towards bigger and better things. That's the other thing that this can represent, is that sometimes I feel with the Three of Wands that we are kind of playing a little bit too small, and we need to expand. It's saying if your life isn't working, then it's like maybe it's not that you've made things too hard. It's like maybe you're playing too small. Or maybe the universe is like, no, I want you to take bigger risks. It's like I remember years ago, I was talking to a person and they wanted a job, and something, not this didn't come up for them, but something like this came up for them in their reading. And I was like, maybe the universe wants you to go for a leadership position, not just a small position. And they did it, and they got a job very quickly. And so again, sometimes I feel like the universe is like, no, you've played around with this small stuff for too long. You're meant to be bigger. And I kind of get that. With the Tower, you have the Five of Swords. This could also be you creating a Tower moment for other people. So, if you're walking away from something, or, with the Chariot, or if you're deciding that something isn't worth it any longer, this could just be you separating away from something that no longer serves you, and, it just is what it is. There's really nothing to say about it. The Five of Swords can be a risk as well. So if you're thinking about taking a risk, I would take the risk. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Change Your Tune card and the Self-Regulation card. Yes, you have that Parrot Spirit that says watch your words. So maybe you need to speak more positively about something that you're trying to manifest or create in your life, or that you don't think will work. If you start telling yourself that it will work, then it will work. So that's what I would do with both of these cards, is start speaking speaking life into what you actually want to see. You have the Fool, the Ten of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. Definitely time to take a leap of faith with the Fool card. So I would take some sort of leap of faith towards whatever it is that you are trying to create or have in your life. The Fool is, definitely a card that in the good stuff can say you are starting a successful new beginning, or you're starting a new journey. And I would do that with this card. The Fool is also about getting down to your intentions. He has this white rose right here. The white rose represents pure intentions. This is a major theme for everyone, I feel, is that we have to really look at why we are doing things. I always tell the cookie story. If you don't know the cookie story, when we're children, it comes from a famous sales trainer, David Sandler, and he says, when we're children, we ask our mom for a cookie before dinner, and our mom says no, right? And so eventually what happens is we start saying, Mom, I'm hungry, instead of saying, Mom, I want a cookie, right? So we don't ask for what we really want. And I think this holds a lot of people back. When I heard that story years ago, I was like, God damn, that is life. That is what holds everyone back, is that what we don't realize is that we are still 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, asking for cookies or asking for food when really what we want is a cookie. We don't ask for what we want. So a lot of people, will say things like, oh, I want a career to support me. But when you really talk to them, they don't want a career. They don't want someone lording over them, telling them what to do. They want something different. But, the trick is to admit that to yourself. And I feel like that's what the Fool is saying. You have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords in the good stuff represents a blessing in disguise. So a lot of you could be seeing that something is a blessing that didn't work out in your past. You could finally be seeing that something was a blessing from the past at this time. And, of course, that would be good. You have the Queen of Wands. I feel like you get the Queen of Wands a lot, which I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's you. And the Queen of Wands is about being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want. I think the important thing based off of this reading, again, I was getting, I feel like this reading is for a fixed sign, like I said, even though you're not. I understand that. The Queen of Wands is about learning as you go. She doesn't need this perfect laid out Virgo plan. Let's pick on Virgo as well while we're at it, right? So you start with the Hermit, which is Virgo energy, right? Virgo needs to have the perfect plan. And I feel like the Queen of Wands, she's just like, whatever. I'm just going to get started and I'm going to see how things go. And, again, I think that embracing that kind of willingness to explore is what this reading wants you to do this week. It'll probably be the best thing for you. She also moves towards what makes her happy, but not what she thinks makes her happy. Again, she might think that a career will make her happy. This is just an example. I'm not saying you have to leave your career, but she might think that's what will make her happy, but deep down inside, she wants something different. And, I would ask you, Cancer, what do you want, right? With the Fool, you have the Moon. This is actually pretty good because maybe you just have been unclear on what your path is. The Moon in the good stuff is like clarity. The Moon normally represents fears, fantasies, illusions, secrets, things like that. But when it comes up in the good stuff, it's like we can finally see where we are going. And so a lot of you could have a better plan this week. You could be discovering kind of like a path that you can follow, or, you could be discovering a plan that you can follow. And that's what I would be focusing on with that card. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Knight of Swords. There you go. So we have the Knight of Swords twice here. Again, if someone is rushing into your life telling you like, oh my God, this is happening, whatever, it's probably not true. Again, you might discover that whatever they're saying is definitely not true with those cards. The other thing that's popping into my head here, Cancer, and this might only be for some of you, is like sometimes I think we make a decision and then later on we kind of like regret it, or we think like, was that a mistake? I feel like this is saying, no, if you made a decision in the past and you're worried that you made a mistake, I do not think you made a mistake. And that might only be for like one of you. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Temperance card. Temperance is alchemy. Temperance is patience. Temperance is turning one thing into another. So a lot of you really, you have the Watch Your Words card. You have this other card that says change your tune. You could really be discovering how your words kind of determine your future, or how it doesn't even have to be your words. It could be your actions. It could be how you feel about things as well. And, that could be something that you're focusing on with that Temperance energy. You have this Door card. It says opportunities are waiting for you. Yeah, there's some sort of like barrier. Maybe that's a good way to put it too here, Cancer. It's like there's some sort of barrier that you have to push through. And once you get to the other side, that's where all the opportunities are. It's almost like there's something you have to do. Or like something that you have been delaying. You have that card that says time is of the essence. Again, I wouldn't rush anything with the Knight of Swords twice, but there's like something you're delaying that I would push through, and I think it would solve a lot of problems. You have this Happiness card. I mean, ultimately, it's not like a terrible reading. You still could be very happy this week. It is a good week. This new moon is awesome. And again, I think really it is a great start to the summer. And I think people will be feeling really good this summer. So, that looks good. You have this Marriage card. I pulled you an extra card because you also have this Ring card that says a marriage will take place either in romance or business. We basically said this with the Four of Wands. And so a lot of you could be committing to something that you want to accomplish on a deeper level. Could also be marriage if you're with a person. You have this crib card. It says birth or conception of a child or an enterprise. You're definitely birthing something. That could make sense. It's like you're stuck in the squeeze. Didn't I say this to you recently? I think so. But it's like you're a baby and you're like trying to be born. And you just have to push through and pop out the other side if this card wants to focus. So, again, that's something that I would focus on. You have this dog close-up card. It says pleasure with a close friend. Yeah, it's an amazing time for socializing and being with people who support you and lift you up. So I think friends would also be a good thing to spend time with this week, or people who are important to you. And I would spend time with those people. But this looks pretty interesting here, Cancer. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.